Hello everyone, and this is Have Faith, Let It Begin. My name is Angel. We'd like to start off by thanking every single person out there for listening to our show. We are just ecstatic about everything that's going on, and as we continue to evolve here at the Have Faith, Let It Begin family. We just remind you all that when you get a chance, subscribe to us, follow us, and like our like page at Have Faith, Let It Begin on our Facebook like page, and subscribe to us on the iTunes podcast channel, subscribe to us on the Spreaker channel. If you do subscribe to the Spreaker channel, just to let you know, when we have a live show, you're able to join us for a live chat. So that's amazing to do that, and we'd love to see you come on and ask questions and get ready for that. We are in the process of working on upcoming events, possible meet and greet. I will keep you all informed with that, but that's still a ways away. But it's just something that's been brought up, and I want you guys to be aware, so that way in the future it's not a surprise. We want to start off by thanking, of course, GABBIE Santana for the use of our theme song, and that theme song is called Tested by GABBIE Santana, who wrote, produced, and performed that song at 14 years of age. She is amazing. Visit her YouTube channel, GABBIE Santana. We are also working on an interview with her that should be coming up in the months to come. I want to start off by talking to you about, you saw the title, my first job. And actually, I shouldn't say my first job, it's just called first job. But many of us can recall when we had our first job. Many of us can remember if it was bad, it was horrific, if it was a crazy experience. So I want to kind of break it up into a two-part topic. It's not going to be a two-part show, but it's going to be a two-part topic. Meaning, do you remember your first job? And do you remember when you first got the job that landed you into the notion that, okay, this is what I want to do? So I'm going to give you a story. My first job was at an ice cream stand. Yep, ice cream stand. I figured, hey, I like ice cream. I like to eat ice cream. I wasn't very much of a sweets type of eater, but who doesn't like working with ice cream? So I went down and I started working at the ice cream stand. And for the record, I lasted 7 hours. I could not make an ice cream cone to save my life. I was good with customers. I could take money, but I could not make an ice cream cone to save my life. It was brutal. I tried any and everything I could to make things work, and I just couldn't make it work. Eventually, they were like, you know what, can you make hamburgers? I'm like, yeah. And, I was able to fry French fries, make hamburgers. That part I was pretty good at. But ultimately, they wanted somebody that could do, everything, cooking, and, making the ice cream cones, etc. I was good cleaning, too. But, again, I could not put an ice cream on an ice cream cone to save my life. And I'm talking about the swirl kind. Not that I couldn't scoop out ice cream that was frozen and put on a cone. It was the actual swirl. So after about 7 hours of being there, I decided it wasn't for me. So I gave my 7-hour notice and said, it's been real. So that was one. Number two, my first job, though, maybe about a year later, where I realized, I got something here, was for a company that sold vinyl siding and thermal windows. I went in, and I remember sitting down with the young lady, and they gave me a script, and they said, can you read this, with excitement? And I said, yeah, I can do that. And I started reading it, and they were like, wow, you did a great job. We're going to try and put you on the phones. Do you feel comfortable? I said, yeah, sure. And sure enough, I got on the phones, and I just started selling. And it was really cool, and I liked it. And eventually I knew that I liked some type of in an industry where I got to sell the product and But I had a goal, and was I can't sell a product I didn't use or didn't like. And I kept with that, and the rest is history. So, I mean, I encourage all of you to make a comment on our page and our email, havefaith, let it be at gmail.com. So again, let me repeat that. I went fast. Havefaith, LIG at gmail.com. You know, let me know what your stories are about your first job. I mean, I'm curious of everybody out there, you know, what their experience has been when they first started working. You know, keeping with this this topic, and it's a little bit different than what we used to do, but it was just something that caught my eye, and I said, you know, I got to talk about it. I thought it'd be kind of cool. And you know me, I will find a positive spin to this, and I will find you a way to make this motivational, because I believe that every show should be motivational and a learning experience. Along the way, I've had many other titles. I mean, I was a banker. I was a sales. What was it called? A sales. I can't think of the name, but I sold newspapers, and it'll come to me, so I apologize. And I sold newspapers for the local newspaper in our town. I worked for roadside assistance, and I worked for a pharmacy as a pharmaceutical technician. I worked for, in previous stories, I worked for TGIF Fridays. I mean, I did a lot of jobs. And you know what? Here's another funny story, actually. I'll never forget this. I was working at Fridays, and I went in, and I'm serving, and I was pretty good at keeping conversations going. And I had a table of 4, so for all you servers out there, you know what that means. I had a section for 4 tables, and one couple comes in, and they're talking, and they're about to go to the theater. They're trying to figure out what movie to watch. And this is back when, we had cell phones, but text messaging was just coming out. So we didn't have that, the internet, unless you had a BlackBerry, so to speak, and not everybody had, smartphones and all that. So this is just during the text message era. So people had like newspaper clippings with them, and that's how they were looking at what movies to, you had to, to go and see. So there's couples trying to figure out what movie to watch, and as they're, eating their appetizer, another bunch of people show up, and they're across from them, and I have their table, and they're talking about a movie that they just saw, and they're talking about it and everything like that, and now the couple next to them that are trying to go think about seeing a movie are taking, they're listening to the conversation, and then all of a sudden another couple shows up, and they're trying to go to the movies as well. And I'm thinking, man, it must be movie night, because everybody's going to the movies. And just to be fair, the Fridays that I worked at, which was in Massachusetts, was about maybe 1.5 miles to 2 miles from the theater. So it was a good pit stop along the way, or on the way out. So anyway, long story short, it got to the point where I kept hearing the same topics. So finally I said, you know what, I'm going to try something. So I stood in the middle of the little area, and I said, hey, everybody, I says, you all have either been to the movies, are going to the movies, or are talking about a movie that maybe all of you have seen or want to see. Why don't we introduce each other? So I literally introduced table to table to table to table. And wouldn't you know it, they actually all became friends. They all joined tables together, and now it became like a 20 top. There's like 15 people there, and they're all strangers. And about like 5 months later, I'm working at Fridays, and this bunch of people show up, and they ask to sit at my section, and it was the same people. So I created something really unique. I gave them, they come out to dinner, and they all became friends just off of me trying to bring them together. And that's really the lesson that I want to put into this. You never know what environment you're going to walk into. You never know what scenario you're going to be put into. You never know what job is going to lead you to your career, or lead you to decide and figure out what your goal or your purpose in life is. And I've always believed that I've always been brought to this world to unite one another, to make people feel good about themselves, and to make people respect one another. And I remembered that story, and I said, I got to do a quick show on it because I thought it was pretty cool. So wherever you go in your workforce or in your daily routine, your social life, it's okay to look up and say hi to somebody. It's okay to say, how are you? It's okay to, socialize with certain people, that you feel that you can reach out to in that moment. Stir up a conversation, and you never know where that conversation will lead you. You never know where one day that stranger could be your best friend. That stranger could be the person you marry. That stranger could be the person that in that moment, even if you never see them again, you can touch their life by saying something that they didn't even know, they were going to hear from, because they were just going out to do something, to maybe brighten their day. So just think about that as you, go out into the world, and just think about how many things we do on a daily basis, and how many times we've stopped and said hi to somebody. They looked up and they smiled and said, thank you for saying hi, or, just remember, it's that one random act of kindness that will definitely start that chain reaction. So I hope that I was able to do that with you this morning, and I hope that you guys have an amazing day, and I hope that you remember that this show is based on putting a smile on your face. It is designed for the daily commuter so that they can go out, enjoy their day, and think about what's the next episode to come. For Have Faith, Let It Begin. My name is Angel. Have faith. Let it begin.